Hello to everybody as you're coming in. Good afternoon. Hey, Daryl. Hey, Zarema. Yeah, hey, Zarema. And you can tell, again, I'll say it many, many times today, but we're recording. So if you don't want your to be recorded, that's totally fine. You can turn off your camera, whatever you need. But again, just so everybody knows, we are recording and I will post the video for people to watch later on. So just, I want everybody to know that. Excuse me. Cool, got a few more people coming in. Hey, Fatin.
Hello, Professor.
How are
No,
you?
good thing. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Good. We got more people coming in. That's great. Hey, Rube. How are you? Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Did you get some time off during the break, Ruba?
Yes.
Good.
How many students you have in this class?
25, 26 are registered right now. So we'll see how many come, and we'll see how many come to the Zoom meetings and stuff like that. Last semester, I think we only had 18 at the end. So this class is a little bit smaller, which is really nice, especially when we start to read the books. We really get time for people to talk about the ideas in the books and stuff. Did you take 340, Ruba?
340? No.
Not yet. Okay, cool. Just curious.
Recording in progress.
Hi, Professor Jeff. This is Najib Nouri. Nice to meet you.
Hi there, Najib. Good
Yes.
to meet you too.
I have just a short question. When we finish the meeting today, you're gonna put the recording under the Canvas under the page and live support, right, with today's date?
Yes, exactly right. I'll show you. I think I need to delete some stuff on the live support page, but the live support page is where all this stuff lives. And most of what we'll do today is for you guys to get to know each other, but I'll show you kind of like, we'll do a full Canvas tour and I'll sort of show you how this class works and answer sort of questions about how to do class, because I know that's something we're all still figuring out.
All right, thank you.
Of course. So I know it's 12:15. We'll wait 3 or 4 more minutes. We'll see how many more people can show up today. We've got 9 students. So hopefully we'll get a few more people. If not, we'll just see who's here and then take it from there. Mohammed, I'm going to mute you. It's not personal. If I ever mute any of you, it's not personal. How many classes are you taking, Riba?
2. Yours, because
2?
you have 4 units and I have word processing. It is 2 units. In order to
Oh, is
complete
it
6 units, to
yeah,
complete the
word
tutoring.
processing? Is that like typing
Yes.
practice? All right, that's cool. That's good. 2 units. That's nice. That's nice.
Professor, I have a question. We have to
Please.
attend the Zoom every time?
Nope.
Each class?
Nope.
Because it is already recorded, right?
Nope. Yeah, you do. I'll talk much more about it, but hopefully you can stay for all class today, and I can answer all these type of questions. But yeah, the short answer is no. There's no attendance for this class. You don't get points for coming. You don't lose points for not coming. I record all of the Zoom sessions and then I'll post those videos for people who can't be here to watch. But the short answer is, but I do hold everybody accountable for anything that I talk about during these Zoom meetings. So those will be on lessons for points. Those will be part of the major writing assignments. So you don't have to be here, but you do have to watch the video. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you so much.
Yep. And I think Ruba, Ruba's taken, I think Ruba, you might be the only one who's taken a class with me like last semester. If you can come, I do think you get even more out of the experience if you can be here. But of course, I understand. I'm with my sister right now, and she's got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they go to school. But the day I got here, it was, oh, a student has COVID, so school's canceled for the next 2 weeks. So again, I understand stuff is changing all the time. So, but if you can be here, I love seeing you guys, and I think it's a benefit if you can be here.
I will be here, but I will be just 15 minutes late because my son, he has the Zoom, he's a preschool. I have to attend with him, just 15 minutes. 12:30, I will log in.
Better late than never.
Hey. Ruba with the English idiom, better late than never. Yeah.
I use it a lot.
Yeah, and that's right. And do you use that? Is that one that you like?
Yes.
Very nice. Perfect. Good. We got a few more people. We got 13. So again, I'll wait maybe 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. But I'm sure, like Fatin, you're not the only one with that question about, what's attendance like? And, of course, everybody wants to know about grades and points and stuff like that. So today we'll talk about all that, all the business stuff about the class. And then of course, we'll start to introduce some of the ideas, and I'll tell you what I want you to do first in Canvas.
Professor Jeff, so you will have a due date for each assignment, or when is it due and all that?
The short answer is no. Really, very few assignments will have real due dates. Again, I've got slides I'll show everybody here, but the shorter answer is no. Again, no, I'll just wait.
Okay.
I'll show you the slides and I will give you
Sure.
the full answer to that question in the next 3 or 4 minutes, I promise.
Thanks.
Of course. I like to hear all the kids. We'll see if you guys get to see my, hey Fazal, we'll get to see if you'll see my nephews. My sister said, leave Uncle Jeff alone when he's teaching, but we'll see.
Hello, Professor.
Hi,
good.
how are you?
Thank you.
All right, 13, not bad. About half the class. Okay, not bad. It's not bad.
شنو؟ خدمة عليها.
All right, let's do it. So we've got 13 people. Like I said, we've got 26 students, so that's about half the class here. So for the people I can see on video, Ruba and Fazal, I'll probably be looking at you more than others, but that's just because I can see your faces. So if you have your video off, remember, that is totally fine with me, especially because, like I said, and I'll say it over and over today, I am recording this class. Any Zoom meeting on a Wednesday like this, I will record and then I will post online for you, for people to watch. If you're here and you want to re-watch or watch other parts again, or if you weren't here and you want to see what you missed. So again, if you don't want your face recorded and put online, that is totally fine. Go ahead and turn your video off. But if you do want to say anything, if I ask a question and you are there and you are listening and you want to share, please unmute yourself, just talk when you want to talk, type in the chat. You can use all of those different things to be a part of the class, okay? Because as much as you can, I think it just makes everybody have a better experience. So, so what I want to do today, I'm going to start to share my screen. And today, basically, everybody is kind of what this class will be like on Wednesdays. So if you're here and you're watching either with me or you're here watching the recording, this is kind of what our Wednesdays are going to be like. So I'm just going to do this and introduce sort of how the class is going to go this semester. So we're here. It's Wednesday, January 20th, 2021. It is the spring 2021 semester here at American River. I'm Jeff, Jeff Moran. You can call me Professor Jeff. I don't really care whatever you want to call me. People seem, Professor Jeff seems to work, so that's fine with me. So here's what we're doing. We're going to do a welcome, sort of get to know each other, and icebreaker introductions. Then, of course, we've got all this very important business to do. So we've got the syllabus to review. We'll do a tour, a sort of like virtual tour of how to use the Canvas course, where I put information in the class. And then I'll talk about the first couple lessons or homework that are posted in Canvas. I want to make sure you understand how to do them, because that's going to be the only thing I ask you to do between now and next week. This first week is kind of to go really slow and, like I said, get used to the class. So before I get started with our welcome and our icebreaker introductions, any questions right away? Not about grades, or because I promise we'll talk about grades, but any questions just about anything right away? Short, little shorty questions. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go. And I'm going to make you talk to each other a little bit. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to put you into groups. Again, if you've taken a class with me, I think Ruba is probably the only one, but I think the best thing to do for these Zoom meetings is, instead of just me talking for 2 hours while people turn their video off and, you know, take care of their kids or clean their house or do their laundry or whatever people do, I think the best thing about using Zoom is the chance for people to talk to each other and talk about the ideas in the class. That's something that's really special about this online teaching. So here's what I want you to talk about. So this is ESLW 350, right? Advanced Literature and Composition. So what I want you to talk to each other about in your small groups is, what do you think about when you see the word literature? And if you don't know what that word is, you can just go to Learner's Dictionary or translate it or whatever. But what do you think about when you see that word? And then the second question is, what is something specific you want to learn or you hope to learn in this class this semester, right? We're going to be working together for almost 4 months. So we know you hope you get an A and you hope you get the units, great. But there is something specific you want to learn when you signed up to take this class. So those are the 2 questions I want you to talk about when I put you in your breakout room. Any questions
one
at all
question.
about what I want you to do? Ruba, let's go.
What do you mean by icebreaker?
Icebreaker is it's like both a metaphor and an idiom. An icebreaker is, so if you have an image of, it literally does come from so if you think about ice, when it's really, really strong, of course, there's no cracks in the ice, right?
Yes.
But when ice starts to break like this, you get a crack in there and then it starts to open up. So I think the meaning behind this idiom here is when you have strangers in a room, sometimes it's, I don't know anybody.
So you
I
just
don't want to
like
talk to
open
somebody.
discussion in a meeting?
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you exactly,
Well,
if you
yeah.
give the group one question to talk about, that breaks the ice. It's like, okay, let's talk about this, and then hopefully it's like, oh, who are you and where are you from and how, those kind of questions.
Okay, good to know.
Great question, Ruba. Icebreaker, like I said, both a metaphor and an idiom. So okay, so the icebreaker that I have for you is, what does literature mean to you, and something specific you want to learn from this class. Makes sense?
Okay.
Professor?
Because I can only see Ruba. Yes, please. Good. Tell me.
Do we only meet Wednesday or also Thursday as well, or just Wednesday?
I will answer that after the icebreaker.
Okay, sure.
I want you to talk to each other first before I start talking about rules and all that stuff.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Any
Cool.
questions about this first activity, about the icebreaker? I will take silence as a no. So I'm going to do 4 people in each room. The rooms are about to open. So please join your rooms, and I'll see you guys in about 10 minutes, and then we'll talk about Zoom and Wednesdays and all that stuff. Tao, is everything okay? Tao, can you hear me? Tao, if you can hear me or you need help, just put something in the chat or let me know, okay? I see. right, people coming back in. All right, we've got everybody back. I hope that you all got to at least say hello and introduce yourself to someone new, see who else is in this class. I know during online learning, it sometimes, even for me teaching, it feels like I'm all alone by myself, disconnected, but there are other people in this class with us. So like I said, that's something I like to do when we meet, is for you guys to be able to talk to each other and hopefully see each other. If you want to turn on your video when you're in the breakout rooms, remember the recording does not, nothing is recorded in the breakout rooms, right? So if you do want to put your face on the video, you can do that in the breakout rooms with no worry about the recording, okay? So I want to talk about both of these questions real quick, and then I promise we'll get to, grades and syllabus and rules and stuff like that. But first, I just wanted to show you for this first question, right? Because we are doing, like I said, an advanced literature and composition class. So I just wanted to show you, if you go to Learner's Dictionary, which is my favorite online dictionary for looking up words, let's look at the definition here of literature. It says literature, it's a noun, right? It's a thing. And it says written works such as poems, plays, or novels that are considered to be very good and have a lasting importance. And this website will give you, this dictionary will give you example sentences. So she took courses in history and literature. Her education gave her an appreciation for great literature. Then we get books, articles, etc., about a particular subject. Another thing for advanced classes like this one, I love, there's something called etymology. So this is online etymology. And I'll put this link in the chat if you're a language lover, which if you're in this class and you're in an ESL class, you probably are. But etymology is actually about the history of a word. So this will show you in English words where these words came from, what language it started in, how long we've been using this word. So when you look up literature in the online etymology dictionary, this was started to be used, this meaning for literature came from the early 15th century. So this has been the same meaning in English for about 400 years, which is quite a long time, actually. English language, the nouns tend to change meaning quite a great deal. But the definition here came from the 15th century book learning, and it came from Latin literatura or literatura, learning, a writing or a grammar. So again, literature obviously has a lot to do with learning and things being written down, but the modern definition gives us this idea of something that's very good, right, or has lasting importance. So I'm just curious, anybody, you can type it in the chat, you can unmute yourself and speak. What did you guys share with your group when you see this word? What do you think about? I'm just curious.
Can I
So,
talk?
Professor,
How about Daryl? Daryl, am I saying your name right?
yes, correct. Thank you.
Great. How about Daryl? Daryl and then Ruba. Please, Daryl, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, for us, I was in a group with Fazal, Nuri, and Fatin. So we all mentioned about literature being a work of writings or any published books.
Cool. So everybody sort of agreed. Books and writing, books and writing, books and writing.
Yes.
Great. Love it. How about you, Ruba? Anything you want to add or anything else? Any other ideas?
Yes, when I write made papers, at the beginning we put literature review. We talk about a previous work that related in the same field.
Love it.
Mm.
So Ruba's a scientist and a professor and a researcher, and Ruba's saying absolutely in the sciences especially, but even if you're writing papers for an undergraduate degree in the United States or a graduate degree in the United States, you would do this literature review. So the idea is if you're publishing new research or if you're looking at a scientific study, you need to say, oh, this is what people wrote about in the past, or this is what people already said about it, right? And then you introduce your topic. Is that right?
Yes, and thesis, PhD, MSc thesis, they wrote literature at the beginning.
Love it. Great. Super cool. Okay, great. So Daryl's saying books and writing, books and writing. Ruba's adding this idea about research or what other people said or what comes at the beginning, information people said in the past. Great. Anybody else want to add anything to this conversation?
I think literature had a history, right? It has a very important histories, and it's all those certain literature is kept for years and years and years that people can refer to as important sources, education important.
Love it. Okay, great. So that's absolutely right. So I think that's really common too. A lot of people, when you think about literature, it's, oh, it's some books that have, people have been reading them for a long time. They have a long history. They feel like they're very important, right? Like they're very important works of literature. And that we get in the definition here from Learner's Dictionary, right? So this idea of a very good and have a long lasting importance. So I do think a lot of times people have that feeling with this word as well, right? Cool. Okay, great. And we'll definitely get the way that I teach this class, the poetry, a lot of the English poems that we'll look at, I do tend to look at poems that are 2 or 3, they're a little older. They're a little older and a longer history. The book that we're going to read though, it's only 40 or 50 years old. So we'll talk more about this, what literature is and what it means to us, and think about how we understand that word and how it affects our ideas, our perceptions, our beliefs about what we're doing and how we're doing it. So that's why I like to start this way. So aside from that though, how about this question number 2? Now I am going to write down some of these ideas. So regardless of how you said about literature, what you think or how you feel, what you think, whatever, I'm just curious, what are things that you want to learn, right? Why did you take this class? Again, hopefully you get Cal State units, these units transfer. Tom, I'm just going to mute you so I don't hear the echo. You get units, you'll get a good grade, you get 4 units, but what's something specific that you guys are hoping to learn from this class? I just want to write down a few things on this slide here and then we'll move on, but either unmute yourself, raise your hand, type in the chat, something you hope to learn in this class.
Improve for critical thinking.
Oh, I love it. Wen Can, or will you say your name for me so I can say it right?
Wen Chan.
Wen
Like
Chen.
WINCHAN. Wen Chan.
Thank you, Wen Chen.
Yeah.
Wen Chen, thank you. Improve critical thinking skills. That's a good one. I love it. And for you, Wen Chen, what does critical thinking mean, or what does that? Yeah, what's that mean for you?
It's kind of when you rated a book or you rated a poem, so you have to your own idea to thinking the way other people thinking. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I love it. Good. I love that. So improve critical thinking means improve how you think about you were saying new poems, new books, or new stories, sort of like how you think when you read something for the first time. Was that kind of your idea there?
Yes.
Okay.
And then
improve how you think.
Yes. So when you read a second time, you might be thinking different way than the first time. So it's kind of
I love that. I love that, Wenchen. I love that. Great. I love it. That's a great one. What else? What else? Something else you hope to learn?
Can I add to the critical thinking?
Absolutely. Yeah, please.
For me, critical thinking is like when you're reading stories or article, anything. It's if you get the feeling like what's the author is, what does the author want you to think, to persuade, and also to understand the tones of the authors and also the setting. I think it's all it's part of the critical thinking.
Interesting. And I'll say I'm not disagreeing at all, but I love this. Do you understand the author's intention or their intended meaning? I love that. I do think critical thinking is a part of that. And then I think you had sort of a second idea, which is setting. What was it, the things you were saying? Setting, you said something else in there. Setting
in I guess I was trying to say is like to understand what his author is telling you, to persuade.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
There are different reading, right? Some of them persuade, some of them is informative. There's certain different kinds
Good. Okay.
of characters and
Okay, I love that. I love.
point
Yeah.
of view.
Yeah. So I'm not disagreeing with anything there. So I do think critical thinking is absolutely connecting to, do you understand the author's intention? Do you understand the meaning, the intended meaning? And I'm going to add just as a second bullet point here, because it is going to be something that we specifically do in this class, which is, how do you analyze fiction? How do you analyze stories, literature, for setting, for character, because that now those two skills go together, right? But they are sort of slightly different skills. Can you read a short story, for example, or a poem? You know, we're going to do poetry, right? Can you read a poem and analyze, oh, there's some interesting things going on with the different sounds there. I understand why the author put this word next to that word because it gives you this different sound. And that's a slightly different skill that is also connected to, well, what was the intention? Did the author want you to feel really like smooth and soft and beautiful when you heard the poem? Did the author want it to feel uncomfortable or strange or scary, right? These two go together, but I'm just going to list them as two different skills because I do think I think that's great. I love that. I love that. Good. Anybody else in the chat, or unmute yourself, or anybody else want to add? Let's get at least 2 or 3 more things on this list of goals we have, things we want to learn.
Can we say your feedback is important?
Sure, tell me why.
Because sometimes we write something wrong, you correct it for us, and we don't know why it is wrong, why it is impossible to say it in English like this.
So how would I say what Ruba just said? So basically, like, you want to learn, if you make an error, you want to learn sort of like you're building skills so that you can recognize your own mistakes, or this kind of goes with critical thinking too here, but to understand and fix our own.
You can give us example of choose 2 or 3 of our writings.
Yes.
And then you said this is not supposed to be written like this. It's supposed to be written the correct process.
True. Ruba knows I do like to do that. I like to show, 3 or 4 student examples and say, okay, what do we see? What do we notice? Here's something that this student does really well. Here's something that they can improve. So I love that. Great. I love that, Ruba. Good. How about 2 more, and then we'll talk rules and Zoom and grades. 2 more things we want to learn.
So, Professor?
Please.
Yeah, so I think for me, on this class, I kind of wanted to learn what are the proper ways of writing and explaining or trying to convey what you want the readers to get from your writings. So basically like different styles of how to convey your message.
In your own essays, for example, Daryl, like in your own essay writing, for example, or what type of writing? I'm just curious.
Like whatever it is that appropriate to what you're trying to do, like if it's basically for work or it's basically for college composition. So like proper ways of trying to get your message to convey to the reader.
I love it. Do you all know this word genre? Do you know this word? What genre is? Anybody?
Is that
genre
like
is
different types?
Yes, I was going to say a genre is kind of like a very literary way of saying, here's the definition in Learner's Dictionary, a particular type or category of literature or art. Now, I always use this example of movies, right? Like right now, we can't see any movies, but if you're at home or you're on Netflix or whatever, you're on Disney Plus, for example, I said Disney, one genre of movie is like movies for children, right? If you're making a children's movie, there's sort of specific things you're supposed to do. Now, if you're making a scary movie, scary movies is a different genre, very totally different rules, totally different expectation, totally different style. If you're making a romantic genre, a movie in a romantic genre, those have different rules and different styles. So Daryl, you're absolutely correct, right? Writing a research paper, like in W340, for example, now that's a very valuable skill. And it is a little bit different than writing a narrative, you know, or even writing a literary, or even writing a research paper about a short story, or a paper about a poem, or a paper about a novel, right? So that's absolutely correct. So how to improve awareness of genre. So how to write in different ways, use different styles to achieve specific goals. Right, and again, this isn't W340, but audience, context, purpose. Now, I don't know who you guys took for W340, or if you if you took English 300, I don't know. But when I'm teaching composition in 325, I like to talk a lot about audience, context, and purpose, because whoever you are writing for, if you're writing for a young person, like I was saying, a children's movie, if you're writing for a person in a 12-year-old, that's a very different audience than writing for, your professor. So audience, context, and purpose, all these come together to affect the way that we write. So, so good news for Daryl is, we have 3 long writing assignments, and each one's really different. The narrative assignment is totally different than writing about poetry, which is totally different than writing about fiction. So we'll definitely get some more information about how to write for specific genres. So great one, Daryl. How about one more, last one? Things we hope to learn in this class. Why did you sign up for ESLW 350? My body's disappearing here.
For me, it's I work full time, and I work in information technology units. So when I'm part of the projects, or complete certain tasks regarding to the projects, or testing certain components regarding to technology services, I have to write reports to explain to my to upper management that how did I took this approach, how did I complete it, and what is the outcome of that approach or task that I complete. So for me, is like writing a report, I think will be a good skill for me to learn, and this, including other important skill as well.
Good. So maybe I heard a few different things there, but you just improve writing skills overall, more practice writing. But of course, you were talking about a sort of specific genre as well, right? How do you write or explain a specific process or a specific outcome, or why you made the choices that you made, or something specific like that. So
yeah,
good. Well, you'll definitely. I'm definitely going to ask you to write. So I'm a really big believer. Whatever language, if you're writing in English, if you're writing in Spanish, if you're writing in Russian, whatever, the more you write, the better you get. So you'll definitely get improvement. You'll get my feedback. You'll definitely get the chance to practice your writing skills. So great. Cool. Well, thank you for this list. Of course, we'll continue to add to it, and we'll talk about the syllabus. And there's specific things that the college always says. Okay, well, in this class, to the teachers, the college says, okay, teachers, you have to teach these things, and of course, we're going to do that. But I think it's always really important whenever you begin a class to ask yourself, why am I here, and what do I want to learn? And again, we know the grades and the units, all that's important. But what's your own specific goal? Having a personal goal really makes it more possible, more likely that you will achieve it. So cool. Thank you all. And hopefully you got to meet at least a few other students. So here is what we're going to do next. I actually wanted to explain the design of this class, but the rest of the sort of time here is going to be to talk about how this class works, and grades and rules and all that stuff. And then I have a short activity at the end of class if we have time. So before I go to the syllabus, which I will, I want to explain sort of the, when do we have Zoom class? Do I have to be there? All that stuff. I want to explain the way that this class is designed. So I'm going to go through some of that stuff, and then I'll show you the syllabus, and then I'll show you our Canvas course as well. So this course is designed to be a flexible course design. So if you're looking at the PowerPoint slide here, I'm sort of just going to read along. And again, stop me at any time, you guys. If you have a question, raise your hand, raise your little blue hand, just unmute yourself and talk. But I'm just going to explain here for a few minutes. So what is flexible course design? So as it says here, flexible course design is something teachers are experimenting with to help students during the COVID-19 pandemic. The idea is to allow students to complete the course at their own speed and at the days and times that work best for their personal schedule. So of course, if you work full time, you work part time, you have kids at home, who are doing distance education, someone in your family is sick. I mean, there's lots of things that make going to school challenging right now. So the idea is flexible course design is supposed to help students who are dealing with real life, right? Now, this is why none of the lessons in our class, if we go look at Canvas, have a specific due date or a specific time, right? So again, no due dates for these lessons. Now, there are going to be a few due dates, and I'll tell you why here. But lesson 1, lesson 2, right, the discussion assignments, it's not, you must have this done by Thursday at midnight. This is not that type of class, okay? Now, this is also why there's no strict attendance. So as I said at the beginning of class, you don't get points for coming to this meeting today, and you don't lose points for not coming. So I will be here every Wednesday. I will have a PowerPoint slide. I will have activities. I will have things for us to talk about, but you don't have to come live and in person. Now, the major writing projects, which we'll talk about when we look at the syllabus, will have due dates for the first draft, but I will always give you at least 2 weeks notice before the first draft of one of these major writing assignments is due, okay? So that's flexible course design. So how does this work? So the way that we do this is lessons in Canvas, live Zoom support meetings, and then of course the opportunity for you to ask me questions, email, text, and Zoom meetings and stuff like that. So here's how this works. So Wednesday Zoom meetings, that's every Wednesday from 12:15 to 2:20 p.m. We have our 2-hour Zoom meeting. So what I'm asking you, please come to as much of our Zoom meeting as you can. So if you can only come for an hour, come for an hour. A student was saying, okay, my child has school until 12:30, so I can't come at 12:15, but I can be there at 12:30. Fantastic, come when you can come, right? Now, I'll always have some lecture materials to present and review things from that week's lessons and assignments. I will also answer any questions that you have about that week's lessons and assignments. Now, all Wednesday Zoom meetings are recorded and posted to Canvas. But of course, as I've said, and I'll keep saying, I don't take attendance. I don't give you points. I don't take away points. But anything I talk about in these Wednesday Zoom meetings, that's going to be a part of the assignments. Okay, so if you can't come, that's all good, but I do ask you to watch the Zoom recording when you can, because all of the concepts, all of the lessons, all of the ideas, they will show up, right? They'll show up in graded lessons, they'll show up in graded discussions, they'll show up in one of the major writing assignments. So that's the way that I handle doing the Zoom class and the synchronous stuff. I've got more to say on the next slide here, but anything about these 2 slides, questions about flexible design or Wednesday Zoom meetings? Anybody?
Me, Professor.
Martha, please.
Yeah, I can come to class, but because I have to go to work, I have to leave like 1:40, so I'll be here, but I just let you know that I have to leave at 1:40.
Todo bien, all good, thank you, all good, all good. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So if you can only come for an hour and you want to come. This is my goal, is like, life is stressful enough right now. So if you can't come, if you don't feel good, if you have a headache, if you have to go to work, whatever, right? Don't kill yourself to get here, right? Just I ask when you can, when you have time, watch the video when you feel relaxed, when your kids are asleep, or when you're you know, I don't know when I mean, I know people are doing crazy. People are working really hard is what I'm saying right now. So I've seen students, you know, on the Zoom meeting sitting in their car, and I'm like, don't come to class if you're driving your car, just watch the video later. So Martha leaving at 1:40, that's fantastic. Thank you for letting me know. But absolutely, you guys feel free to take care of yourself. Feel free to take care of yourself however you need to. Any other questions or ideas about flexible design and Wednesday meetings?
I have a question.
Please, Wen Chen.
It is saying the lecture and assignment has no due dates. But
Yes, and we'll talk more about, yeah. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Because my question is, as long as you finish it, you'll get points, right? It's not gonna.
Basically, yes, that is correct. Except for there's 3 major writing assignments. I'll show you what they are when we look at the syllabus here. But like I said, the first draft for those, because I will give you feedback on your first draft, and then you can revise and resubmit for a higher score. So because you have the chance to revise and resubmit, I need to get those first drafts by a certain time so that I can look at them and give you feedback, okay? But the lessons that I'm gonna show you in Canvas, you know, what I suggest that you do before next week, there's no due dates on discussions. There's no due dates on sort of the shorter lessons to practice the ideas from the lecture. So yeah, as long as you do them before the end of the semester, you'll get the points.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Professor?
Of course. Tell me.
Professor, for the writings,
Carol, go ahead.
yeah, for that, are you gonna be assigning like minimum words or number of words?
Yes,
I mean,
we'll talk more. Yes, usually we
okay.
do. For this class, honestly, for W350, if you guys are taking this class, it's an elective, your English skills are already very strong. I mean, most students in this class are really motivated, so I've never really had a problem if I give an assignment and a student's like, okay, here's my essay, and it's 1 paragraph. But usually I do have minimum word counts just as a way to make sure, you know, people are doing enough work. But I haven't found it to be a problem usually.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Professor and Jeff, so
Yes.
if those assignment I see on Zoom, like lesson 1, lesson 2, they have no due dates, but I just want to make sure, how do we know when we to do it? We don't want to get too behind. Is like,
I agree. Yeah, so I'll show you, just to skip to the end. So at the end of every class, this is the final slide for today. We still have time, but you see how I say suggested before. So I'm going to give you, like, if I will, every week I will tell you, like, hey, like, I think this is kind of the path you should be on, right? But again, like I said, I had students who I had COVID in my family. Like last semester was a crisis, right? So I understand if someone gets COVID, if someone gets sick, if things at work are crazy, if 1 week is really a bad week, right? I don't want you to feel too scared or like you have to drop. I mean, sometimes students are like, oh my God, like I missed a week. And so that means I have to drop the class. I don't want you to do that, right? So if you get behind because life happens, you can catch up, right? But what I don't want, like when Chen was asking, or you're sort of saying now, yeah, I don't think it's a good idea to just not, you know, don't do any lessons for 6 weeks and then be like, I'm good. You know, I don't think that's a good way to do it. But I do think also for me as a teacher, it's important to make sure you have flexibility because life is so difficult right now. Does that answer your question?
yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
So like I said, each week I'll say, hey, I suggest you do this, but I don't want you to be, if you can, right? I want you to be, I want you to feel as little stress as possible. There's work to do. There's stuff for you to do in Canvas, but I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, if I don't do lesson 3 by tomorrow, then I'm, you know, I'm in really bad, everything's really bad. I just don't want you guys to feel that way if we can avoid it. So,
Okay, sounds good.
all great questions. Yeah, all great questions. Any other questions? Let me talk about my student hours then, and then we'll look at the syllabus if we have any questions in Canvas. So the only other thing I'll add, so Wednesday, I'll be here, right? If you want to talk to me, you can see me on Wednesday. I'll have stuff and I'll be answering questions and all that. But there's also lots of other opportunities for you to get help from me. So Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., those are my office, you might see them called office hours, but I said this last semester, I don't have an office right now. No one can go into the office right now. Everything is online. So these are, instead of being office hours, these are just student hours, right? These are hours for you to talk to me and the chance for you to get any help you need. So Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., phone, text, and email. That means I'm sitting at my laptop, I'm sitting with my phone, I'm answering emails and text messages and phone calls. So if you have a short question and you just need an answer right away, that's a great time to send me a text, send me an email, or even if you need to call me, call me. So you'll get a reply right away. Jeff, when is this going to be graded? Professor Jeff, what time is this due? Whatever. Text or email on Wednesday morning. I'll get back to you right away. Okay, then Thursday, I have time for one-on-one Zoom meetings. So these 2 hours from 2:30 to 4:30 on Thursday afternoons are set aside for one-on-one Zoom meetings with students. That means that you should email me or text me to let me know what time you want to meet. Now, during that time, we can look at your writing together. We can spend more time with a specific idea from the class or a lecture. But the Zoom meetings is if you need to share your screen, for example, like if you're saying, Jeff, you said that I should look at this paragraph or fix this problem in the paragraph, then we can get on Zoom, share screen, we can go sort of give more specific and detailed answers to any questions that you have. So Wednesday, 10 to noon, text, phone, email, short questions. Thursday, 2:30 to 4:30, one-on-one Zoom appointments for me to answer deep or detailed questions, and then by appointment. So I know people are already saying full-time work, kids at home. If you can't meet or come to student hours during those times on Wednesday and Thursday, just send me an email, send me a text, and suggest a time though, right? Don't just say, Jeff, I can't meet, what do I do? Just ask me, right? Hey, can you meet Friday at 2 p.m.? Jeff, can you meet Thursday at 7 o'clock at night? Just ask me, right? If I can, if I'm able to, I will make the time and we can find a time that works for your schedule as well. Okay, so this is the information about my student hours this semester. Any questions about this? Cool. If you do, raise your hand, put it in the chat, unmute yourself. And if you're not here and you're watching the recording, I'll just say, guys, I'll go to the Canvas. I'll go to Canvas now. Because I'm going to show you the tour. If you go to the Canvas homepage, I put my email and my phone number here on the homepage for a reason, right? Do not be afraid to send me a text message. It's a very fast way to get a hold of me. Now, again, texting is, speaking of genres, right? Texting is not a great place to be like, asking me why did I get a B, you know, and then I have to write, you know, some like a 400 response in a text. That's not a good use of text. But if you have a short question, right, if you need some help, don't be afraid to text me. It's last semester I was nervous to give students my phone number, but I think it was really, really helpful. It's really convenient and easy, and so many of us use our phone all day long. So don't be afraid to send me an email. Don't be afraid to send me a text message. Okay, any questions about flexible design, Wednesday Zoom meetings, or student hours before I show you what to do and how to get information in Canvas?
I have a question about student hours. Does that mean when we need help or for groups or what? Sorry.
Mostly it'll be for, yeah, it'll be mostly for when you need help. Sometimes I do group work when I have in class, but I think right now group work is really hard because all of you guys have such different schedules. So it's not really for group work, Fatin. It's just if you have a question like, Jeff, you know, I need some help with my essay. It's kind of like a detailed question, right? Like, let's look at this paragraph together. Okay, come to a Zoom meeting, right? We can go one-on-one. Or if you just have a question about, you know, what's going on in Canvas, when will you grade this or something, send me an email or a text. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course, yeah. Anybody else? Okay, let's do, I was going to show Canvas, but let's do the syllabus since we're kind of in grade mode and all that stuff. grades and policies and rules and all that stuff. Let's look at the syllabus real quick. Now, you will get the chance to see this in detail. Some people, I think, already started the lessons 4 and 5, which is more information about the syllabus. But let's go through this really quickly together. We're not going to go through the whole thing. But again, I know the grades and rules are very important, so I want to make sure. So all this information at the top of the syllabus. Oh, and you can access the syllabus here on the homepage, right? If you just click this picture of the map, click on the map. The syllabus will open here. Again, I'm sure most of you have already, taken online classes last semester. If you want to download the syllabus to your computer, just click this link right here, download the syllabus. So at the top of the syllabus is all the information I just talked about: my name, my phone number, my email, information about the student hours this semester, that's at the top. So here's the course description. I'm just going to read through the first 2 pages, you guys, so you can follow along with me. Here's the course description, required materials, and stuff about the grades. So that's all I'm going to talk about first. So course description. So first, I want to start this semester by recognizing all of the history, the strength, creativity, and knowledge that you already bring into this classroom. So I hope you can take a minute to think, where do you come from? How did you get here? Who helped you become the person that you are today? You carry all of these places, people, and experiences with you, and I want you to think about them if you ever doubt yourself this semester. This class is made up of a diverse group of human beings, and therefore we have many different ways of knowing the world. I hope that we can use all these different types of knowledge as we read and write new things so that you can work toward our class learning goals. This semester, I will ask you to try on a lot of new ideas and new skills. You might like some and really dislike others. That's great. I only ask you to imagine that each experience is a different way to understand and to read the world. When we do this, we won't be reading and writing to just learn the one right answer. Instead, we'll be reading and writing to create our own shared meaning as a class. And in this way, we will be active creators of our own learning. When we do this, I believe that we are more likely to use our voices to reflect and act upon the world in order to make it a more beautiful place. That's my goal. So required materials, there's only one book for this class. Now we're gonna do a lot of reading, but a lot of the reading, if you look at the Canvas page and you go to the home page here, a lot of the reading is stuff that I'm just going to give you, I give you guys for free because, it's 2021 and I don't think you guys should need to buy a whole bunch of stuff. So if you go to course materials page here, right, there's a lot of stuff for us to look at here, and I'll show you what this is and how to use it and all that good stuff. But I'm only asking you to buy one book, and it is this. This is the novel that we're reading at the end of the semester. It's by Ursula K. Le Guin, and it's called The Lathe of Heaven. In the announcement that I sent out, I put an Amazon link to it, but I'll do the same thing here. Whoops. I'll do the same thing here in the chat. So like I said, you don't need to buy the book from Amazon. You can buy it from anywhere online. But I didn't put this book in the bookstore because if you buy the book at the ARC bookstore, instead of being $9 like it is on Amazon, I think that it's almost $20. Everything in the ARC bookstore is just so expensive, you guys. So instead of doing it through the ARC bookstore, I just wanted to give you the link. Or if you can find it anywhere else online, if you can find one of the students who took W350 last semester, we used this book at that time too. So this is the only book that I want you to buy. And if you did not buy it yet, do not worry, because it's going to be weeks and weeks. We're not going to do this book until the end of the semester. At the beginning, everything's going to be online in Canvas for free. So any questions? Oh, I want to say one more thing about materials. So the only book I want you to buy is The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin. Now, you do need a computer, laptop, Chromebook, tablet, or phone with reliable internet access. I can't force you to use a computer or a laptop, but I do think it will be much easier for you if you write essays on the keyboard instead of on a phone or a tablet. Now, American River College can lend you a Chromebook if you need one. If you need help getting a Chromebook, send me an email. I think, again, most of the people at 340 and 350 level, you guys probably have laptops and computers and you know all this already. But I think it's worth saying just so you know sort of what I think and what I feel about the technology. So that's all for required materials. Any questions at all about the book or the technology stuff or anything about this first page of the syllabus? Cool. If you do have questions, unmute yourself, raise your hand, whatever you need. But if not, let's talk grades. Okay, so grading. So here's the assignments and the grading, and this class is broken up into sort of 3 big categories of assignments over the semester. So there are the major writing projects. These are worth 600 points. So 60% of your grade this semester comes from these writing projects. Now, there are 3 major writing assignments this semester. There is the narrative project, that's worth 200 points, the poetry project worth 200 points, and the literature project worth 200 points. Additional information for every assignment will be posted in Canvas with instructions, due dates, and a grading rubric. I will always give you at least 2 weeks notice before an assignment is due. Now, none of this is open in Canvas because I don't want you to even really be thinking or worrying about this right now. But just as an example, when I say that an assignment sheet will be provided, what I mean is, so this is for the narrative assignment example, for example, last semester. This is not what we're going to do this semester. But last semester, it looked like this. So information with instructions about the assignment, due dates, the grading rubric for the project. So when I say here in the syllabus, additional information for every assignment will be posted, I mean, you're going to get all this, right? You're going to get much more specific information about every single writing project, and at least 2 weeks before the first draft is due. Okay. Any questions about the writing projects right now? I mean, there's not much to say because, you know, we're about a month away from me even introducing the first one, but any questions about the major writing projects? Cool. When I introduce them, there will be plenty of time. There'll be plenty of time for questions. Yes, please. Who's up?
Yeah, this
yes,
is
please, go ahead.
I missed you. How do you get to that example, the narrative?
You can't. You can't.
Oh.
It's not open yet. I don't want you guys to see anything that you won't be doing. So you will, when I introduce the narrative assignment, I will show you exactly where it lives in Canvas and how to get there and all that stuff. But for right now, don't even worry about it because we got more work to do before we start talking about the first writing project.
Okay.
Yeah. I lost my syllabus. Okay, so that was the major writing projects. Then we have lessons. So I will ask you to complete a variety of lessons in Canvas this semester, quizzes, discussions, writing assignments to help you learn and to practice the new ideas. Each lesson is worth up to 50 points. Lessons won't have specific due dates, and you can complete them when it is best for your own schedule. So again, if I go back into Canvas, I'm going to go into student view so you guys will see what it looks like when you look at it. And you can, I know you guys can get there in lots of different ways. You can go to grades, you can go to assignments, syllabus, whatever. If you go to assignments, that's the way I like to do it. Or if you go to modules, whatever you want to do it. So for example, right now there are the first 5 lessons are open, right? So it'll just look like this. Lesson 1 is using name coach. So here's an example of what a lesson will look like, right? In the syllabus, when I say 300 points this semester will be from online lessons. So it says use the name coach tool to record your name as you want me to say and pronounce it. If you have a nickname, record your nickname. For example, my full name's Jeffrey, but I like people to call me Jeff. So just record your name exactly how you want me to call you this semester. And then I put some photos below to find the name coach page and examples about how to record your name. So this is worth 10 points. And when I say, you know, these lessons are in Canvas and they're worth, you know, for this semester, all of the lessons together will be worth 300 points. No due dates, instructions for every single assignment. That's what it looks like, right? That's what this looks like. And before the end of class, I'm going to show you all of these so that you know sort of what I'm asking you to do before next week. But before we look at those, any questions at all about what this means in terms of your overall grade? So 300 points. Any questions about the lessons?
I have a questions. So when I open the assignments, so when I open the assignments and then they were the introduction letters, and then when you open it and they have one link, you saying read my samples, but I couldn't open the website.
Yeah, if you were, we can look at that before the end of class. We'll look at this, like I said, because I want to show you all of these assignments, since I'm going to ask you, hopefully, if you can, to do them before next week. If there's a computer problem on channel, we'll look at it before the end of class.
Okay.
Let me finish the syllabus first. I'm sure there'll be computer problems. Me having broken links or stuff in Canvas, that will happen. So if there's anything for me to fix in Chen, I promise I will fix it.
Okay.
And then the last thing for the whole grade for the classes, there will be a final exam for this class. We're not going to do a midterm, but there's a final exam, a final activity worth 100 points. So as I say, per ARC policy, I am required to administer a timed final exam. You'll have 24 hours to complete the final exam. The test will open in Canvas at 8 a.m. on the day of the test, and then the exam will be due before 8 a.m. the next day. So unlike your major writing projects, which you will be able to revise and resubmit for higher grades, the final exam is not like that. You get one draft, submit it, and that's it. Now, of course, the final exam is 4 months away. So we really hopefully don't, I hope you won't worry about the final exam right now. It's not important at all on today, January 20th. But I do want you to know, there'll be one day, you'll have 24 hours. I promise it's not like a scary, scary test. It's really just a final sort of writing activity that I give you the chance to think about the class and reflect on your experience in the class. And that's sort of the main grades for this class. So you can see most of the grading for this class is the major writing assignments. And that's why we spend the most time on those projects. We spend time on the first draft, and then you have time to revise and resubmit for a higher grade. And we'll talk much more about that before I introduce the first writing project, but that won't be for a month or so. So this first few weeks, you guys, is really just going to be things that I post in Canvas, stuff for you, videos for you to watch, or things for you to read, and then some of these shorter lessons in Canvas that I ask you to complete. So that's really the first few weeks, and we'll talk much more about the major writing project when I introduce the first one in about a month. So any questions about the grade and the structures or anything on this page of the syllabus? Questions? Cool. Cool. Then we've got lots of time. We've got 50 minutes, and I want to do one more activity then, and I'll put you back in groups to do this. And this activity is going to get you ready for discussion number 1. So I want to show you some of these things, like when Chen was saying, what's up with the introduction letter and follow the link and all that stuff. So I'll look at the link while you're talking to each other. But this first discussion, and again, if this is if you were in a class last semester, you probably know about Canvas discussions already. But in the first discussion, I'm going to ask you to watch a YouTube video and start to talk about stories. Because again, when we talk about literature, really what we're talking about, fiction is just stories, right? Like long story, short story. But we were talking about, I think Nasheed was talking about characters, setting, what happens in the story, the plot, the events, all that stuff. So really literature is just stories, right? People telling stories to each other. So what I want you to do in your breakout groups to get ready for the first discussion is to answer just this one, teacher mistake, is to talk about this question, which is, for all of history, human beings have made up stories to share with each other, every culture, every language, all over the world, right? And even before writing was invented, people would memorize whole stories, whole songs, whole poems. And there was this whole tradition of having oral stories told and shared with each other over and over for years and years. So my question that I want you to talk about with your breakout room again is, why do you think human beings love stories so much? Obviously, there's no right or wrong answer for this question, but it is sort of the way we're going to introduce the idea of literature this semester. So I'm going to put you into your breakout groups again. Then we'll come back together, just talk about what you shared. I'm going to introduce those first few lessons, and then we'll finish. We might even finish a little bit early today, since we went through the syllabus pretty quick. So that's the plan for the rest of the Zoom meeting. Any questions before I put you back into your breakout groups?
Do we discuss it, or do we need to watch the YouTube video?
That's a good question. I think I want you to just discuss it first, because the YouTube video is you're gonna hear some experts, you're gonna hear people sort of answer this question, and you will get to watch that, right? But before you watch that, I just want to hear what you already bring to the room right now. What do you think right now before you watch the video? Great question, Ashid.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just a chance to talk to each other a little more, and like I said, no right or wrong answer. Any other questions? Cool. So again, you can write the question down. You can take a picture of this question on your phone. I'll broadcast it when you're in your groups as well. But let me open up the breakout rooms. You can talk to each other a little bit more, and then we'll come back together and finish up for today. So let me open the breakout rooms, talk to each other for about 10 minutes, and I'll see you soon. Rooms are open. All right, people coming back.
Progress.
Progress. Oh, I'm muting you again just because I can hear the echo. All right, we are all back. All right, like I said, I tried to send an announcement. I hope people saw it, but I'd love to hear just one person from each group, one idea, just something you talked about. I know it's kind of a big, like I said, I know it's a big question with not a simple answer, but what was just something that you enjoyed talking about with your group? Yeah, I want to hear from one person from each group. So who's in group one? Who'd like to share one idea?
So for us, it was to save the history that they teach to their children. So that's why the
Love
stories, so it's easier or something,
Love
so
it.
generation to generation.
Cool. And Kushal, is that? Can you say your
Yeah.
name for me so I say it right?
Kushal. Yeah, you got it right. Yeah, yeah.
Kushal. Okay, close.
Yeah.
Maybe close. Kushal. So Kushal was saying for his group, for history, for important things that people want to remember, people would tell stories to their kids or to other people so that they could remember these things. Is that
Yeah.
right? Love it. Great. So Kushal was talking about history and remembering, and also there's this kind of idea about generations, or like older people and younger people. I love that. Great, great, great. Two more. Thank you, Kushal, for sharing.
I will say.
Okay, Ruba, go for it.
For fun, you tell a story for fun, or learn from
Ooh.
their life stories and experience.
Love it. So interesting. Ruba was saying two things there. I think the second one was kind of connected to what Kushal was saying about learning, sharing knowledge or sharing information. But I love the first thing Ruba said was for fun, right? Entertainment, kind of like, TV shows or stories, right? Why do we watch TV? It's distracting, it's comforting, it's kind of fun and interesting and entertaining to hear stories about other people. I love it. It's true. Sometimes it is just that simple. It's entertaining, right? Sometimes I know for me, sometimes I like to take a break from my own brain, from my own thinking, and it's like, okay, I want to hear a story about someone else. Oh my gosh. Great. How about for one more person? One more group.
I'd like to share.
Sure, please.
I'm thinking about stories like I mentioned to my colleague. I think about story as a historical record that your grandparents tell your parents pass it to you, and you will pass it to your kids. There's some good experience, there's bad experience, but those stories will never disappear. So be always in your mind. So the story is like you say, like watching a movie, and some of them in the books, some of the non. So it's a good experience to tell story in research.
I love it. Great point. So Najid is sort of talking about that history thing as well. But the other thing I heard there is about when you said parents, grandparents, children, there was this thing about family, and that's true, right? The stories that we tell within our family sort of give meaning to what it means to be a family, or for cultures, right? Different countries, different cities, different cultures. There's this idea that, the stories we tell are an important part of who we are, right? So it's not just learning an important lesson, that's important too, right? That happens, but it's also like, well, it's important that you know this story about the family because that was your grandfather, that was your great grandfather, and somehow we get this feeling like, wow, like that tells who I am, or who my city is, right? Who my culture is, right? I think that's true. I think that's a really important point. I think that's really important. Like I said, your example about family, it's true. We all do this. We all do this in our own family, one way or another, right? We all have different family stories or things that are important to keep alive in our own family. I love it. Great. Great ideas, great ideas. And of course, like I said, this is a really big question, and it's kind of about a philosophical question. And the video that I'm going to have you watch, it's really short, but it's really interesting to hear sort of scientists answer this question from a sort of their perspective, right? From their own experience about neurology or sort of the function of stories in the brain, or people who look at it socioculturally, or look at sociology, right? Sociologists looking at the value, the purpose of stories, you know. I think it's really interesting. So I hope you'll enjoy it too. So I want to show you the lessons that I'm going to suggest that you do before next week, because today's kind of just a relaxed sort of welcome to the course, here's how to do it kind of class today. But any other ideas anybody wants to share about stories before I show you the homework, right? The lessons that are in Canvas. Any other ideas?
Pastor?
Please, Daryl.
Yeah, so I think for me, why human beings love to tell stories is, I guess, human beings were also designed to connect to one another. So one way to interact to one another is that storytelling, like whatever it is that people want to convey or send message to one another. I think through stories, they'll be able to do that, like not just from the specific generation or the current generation, but for all throughout the history.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love Daryl saying something I think really important there. Yeah, humans are made for connection, right? Made to connect to one another. We are the social animal. We need each other, right? And one way that we stay connected, one way that we connect to other people is to tell stories. And I'm going to add, you know, you'll see this in the video, but I think also when you think about me, I'll just speak for my own self, right? I'm one person, I'm one human. I tell a story about who I am, right? Who I am and what my life is and why I'm here. I think stories are a way for individual humans to sort of give meaning to their lives, to make sense of the world. And then I think you're exactly correct, Daryl. Once we have some idea of who we are, right? Why do we do the things we do? What do we love? What is important to us? Then we can tell other people that story, right? We can share that story of ourselves with others to connect. And exactly like you said, Daryl, we are social animals. So I love that connection between our story about ourselves and then the story that we use to connect with other people. So I love that. That's definitely a big part of what we do. I think you're right. Beautiful. Well, we'll get to talk more about this after you've done your discussion and after you've seen the video. I know this was just kind of like a warm up, you know, a way to start thinking about some of these big questions, because this isn't like a question that you need to answer perfectly on a test, right? So sometimes students think, oh my gosh, like what's the point? Why are we talking about this? Well, I want you to keep these questions in mind, like why are stories important? When we read a poem that's 300 years old, you know, in 3 or 4 weeks, going to read some poems, like why do we still read these poems? Why are they still important? Or I think about my students from and you know, I don't know if we have students from Iran or students who speak Persian in this class, but if you think about Rumi, right, poets hundreds of years old, some, and of course we have Arabic speakers. I mean, beautiful Arabic poets from hundreds of years ago. You know, why do we still tell these stories, right? There must be something important going on here. If all of these cultures, all of these different languages, we use stories in these different ways over long periods of time. So that's kind of why we introduce the class like this. So you'll get to think more and talk more about this topic when you look at some of the lessons and the activities. So I'm going to show you here in Canvas. Oh, I think I already closed this, forgive me. But like I said here, so my suggestion for next week, there's nothing due. There's no due dates. You don't lose points if you don't do it. But if you have the time and you can do it, my suggestion is before next week, before the 27th of January, you complete lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, and lesson 5. So lesson 1 is really short. So let me show you that and answer any questions you have. So you can find these in modules here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can find these in assignments, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can find them in a lot of different places. Wherever you find them is fine. But just really quick, lesson 1, I already showed you. It's so fast and so easy, and you get 10 points. All you have to do is click this part that says name coach here. Oops, I can't do it because I'm the teacher. but I promise if you click it, you can do it. And then there'll be a button that says record your name. And you can do this on your phone. You can do this on a computer. You can do whatever, however you want to do it. You click record your name on your phone. It's really easy. You just say your name as you want me to say it into the computer. And it should take you about 10 seconds. And that's 10 points. So that's the first assignment. Assignment number 1 is just record your name with the name you want me to call you in Canvas. That's it. Any questions about this assignment? I hope not. It's so easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like 10 free points, right? 10 free points. Lesson number 2. This will take you a little bit longer, but I'm not grading for grammar. I'm not grading for anything. This is just a chance for me to get to know a little bit about you. So as I say here, this assignment is a chance for me to learn a little bit more about you. And it also allows me to read some of your writing without you worrying about grades, corrections, or feedback. So if you want to come to a Zoom one-on-one with me and ask, Jeff, are there any mistakes? We can look at your grammar, but I'm not grading for grammar. So don't stress. The point is writing just to write. Okay, so I want you to write 500 words. That's about 2 paragraphs. So don't feel like you need to write 20 pages. That answers the following questions. 1, who are you? 2, how did you get to ARC? 3, what's a goal you have for this semester? 4, what's the best class you've ever taken and why was it so good? And number 5, what is a dream you have for your life? Then I say, please read my example letter and copy the style and formatting of the letter. So let's see, who was talking about this? When Chen was saying that one of the links was broken, I think it should be fixed. When Chen, if you want to try right now and tell me if it's still broken, but it should be good. So here's my letter. It's way longer than 5. Okay, good. Thank you. It might have been broken this morning or yesterday. So I'm always playing around in Canvas when Chen trying to fix stuff. So if you find something that's not working, thank you for letting me know. Tell me, I will fix it, I promise. So this is my letter to all of you. This is me answering those same questions that I ask you to answer. So take some time, read through it. Again, you don't need to write me a whole page. So I wrote more than 500 words, but it's just a chance for you to get to know a little bit about me as a human being and not just as the professor. And that's why I'm asking you to do the same thing for the letter. So again, for your letter to me. So I'll say one more time. 500 words, it will take you some time, right? But please don't spend 3 hours on this letter, you guys. Don't worry about having perfect grammar. Just give me the chance to get to know you a little bit, okay? Any questions about this assignment number 2, lesson number 2, the letter?
For number 4, does it have to be English class or any class?
Any class, any language, any country, any university, just a class you loved. Great question, Kushal, thank you. And I'm going to finish with lesson 3. So let me show you lesson 4 and 5. Lesson 4 and 5.
Excuse me. Professor?
Yes, please. Rahila?
We should write just 1 paragraph or 2 or 3.
In the letter, I say 500 words. So at this level, at the 340, 350 level, usually a paragraph is about 250 words. So when I say 500 words, that should be about 2 paragraphs.
Okay.
You know, so again, at the beginning, I'm not going to count every word and take points away if it's short, right? But again, it's 350, so you know, if it's not about you, Rahila, at all. You know, it's not about you at all. But if a student's like, teacher, you know, I can't write a paragraph, I'm going to be like, 350 is not the class for you. You know what I mean? We got work to do. You know what I mean? Does that help a little bit, Rahila?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
And perfect. And just like Rahila did, like I said, you guys, unmute yourself, jump in. You can ask me a question at any time. So lesson 4 and lesson 5, let me do one thing here. Oh, good. So as you can see, this says that it's a quiz, you guys, but I give you 3 chances here. Okay, so this is not like a you have to get it right quiz. This is just a chance for you to read over the syllabus and answer a few questions. So it's really just a chance for you to practice answering basic information about this class. It's not a, did you memorize this and Professor Jeff is trying to give you a low grade? No, no, no. If you get a question wrong, take the quiz again. I want everybody to get 100% on this quiz, okay? So and a lot of the lessons, I'll tell you right now, you guys, they show up as quizzes, but you can take it 3 or 4 times. So it's not like a, you know, the quizzes, the way that I do this class, you guys, is a quiz is a chance to practice and learn new things, not a chance to, you know, memorize and be perfect. That's not how I do this class. So just to answer these questions, you might have to go back and open the syllabus again, you know, and just review some of this information. So that's all this is doing. So for example, how many Zoom meetings do we have each week? Hopefully, you know, even from just class today, we've got 1, right? What day and time is our Zoom meet? So that's all. That's what this quiz is. Just a chance for you to review basic information. I am going to leave basic information about the class. Any questions about these 2 quizzes? It should be easy. If you're really confused, send me a text or send me an email and I'll help you so that you can get 100. This lesson number 5 is also a quiz, but it's just another chance. Some of these answers are short answers, so I ask you to write a sentence or 2, right? So it says, you know, read over this, you know, read this paragraph here, Appendix A, right? So for example, lesson 5 says, read Appendix A in support of culture and language diversity, copy and paste a sentence that you really like, and then explain why you like that sentence. So you read the paragraph, let's say you like this first sentence, whatever, you can just copy that, paste it here, and then say, I like this sentence because. Okay, that's all you got to do. If you do that and you answer the question, you'll get the points. Again, not a right or wrong answer. Make sense?
Professor?
Daryl, tell me.
Yeah, for this one, it says 50 words. The 50 words, is that including the sentence that we copied?
Yes, yeah. So the copy paste sentence counts towards the 50. And like I said, Daryl, for this class, again, if you're taking 350, it's usually because you like to read and write. So at least a little bit. So I'm not like if someone gives an answer and it's way too short, especially in the first week or 2, Daryl, I'll just send you a message, right? And say like, hey, this was a little short. I'm not gonna give you 0 points or make your life hard. I'll just send people a message. So just do your best. And again, usually when I teach this class, I don't have a lot of students being like, oh my God, I only want to write 1 sentence. You know what I mean? But that's my experience. Does that give you a little more
Yeah, no,
clarification, Daryl?
that's good. Thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah. And again, for the first week or 2, you guys, I think in general, you can ask Ruba. This is Ruba's 3rd class with me, so I don't know what to say about that. Ruba, anyway. I try to be I'm pretty relaxed. I don't want you guys to stress. You know, I don't want you guys to be stressed. So
We appreciate
if
that.
it's too short, I'll let you know. Of course, life is stressful enough, right? I mean, we don't need to add this to it. So
Yeah.
so the last thing, so these should go pretty fast. Lesson 1, 2, 3, and 4 should go pretty fast. Lesson 3 might take you some time because it's going to be our first discussion assignment. So every discussion will have these 2 first instructions, and I'll show you more about this right now before we finish. But here's what I'm asking you to do. So watch this YouTube video about why human beings tell stories. Here's a link to the video. Just click the link and it'll open in another tab, right? It's only 4 minutes. You can turn on the closed captions. I'm not worried about it. So watch the video. And then question number 1 says, according to the video, what's one reason stories are so important for human beings? The video gives you, I think, 5 or 6, so I'm asking only for 1. And then 2, how did this video change your perception, your understanding, your idea about stories? And I'm assuming that it will teach you something, but I'll say if it didn't, you can just say this video didn't change my perception, but then tell me why not? Okay, so 1, something you learned from video, and 2, how or did this video change your understanding of stories? So that's the only thing I want you to do. The last thing we're going to do, and then we are going to finish a little bit early today, is I just want to show you that for each discussion activity, we'll probably have 6 or 7 discussions. We'll see how the semester goes. I have the same rules and instructions for all of them. So you can click this link and it'll open up here. You can access these anytime. But here are the instructions for posting in our Canvas discussions, okay? So this is the only time I will look at words, by the way. Daryl was asking about word count. A few other people were asking about words. This is where I really ask you to try and check your words here, because some people might never be able to come to a Zoom class, you guys, right? Like, I'm so happy. I'm looking at Ruba, I see Maria, I've seen Daryl, I've seen a few other students, right? But some students might have to work, or some students might have sick family members, or some students might have family. So the discussion might be the only time you get to talk to each other, right? So that's why I ask you to try and do at least 200 words. So for this semester, here are the instructions. You'll write several Canvas discussions so that you can connect and share ideas with your classmates. So your first post, so what you need to do first is, like I said, where'd my Canvas go? Watch the video and answer these 2 questions, right? So that's your first post. So in your first post, let me close the syllabus. In your first post, write at least 200 words. Yes, I will count your words if your post looks too short. Next, make sure that you directly respond to my prompt, to my questions, not some other idea or opinion. In other words, answer the question that I ask you, not something else. Again, by 350, most of you guys know college well enough. This is kind of how American college goes. Answer all of the questions. So if you see 3 question marks, you know you have 3 questions to answer. So for this one, I'm asking 2 question marks, 2 questions. Please answer both. And then ask a question that you still have about this prompt, this topic, this idea, anything, right? So at the end of your post, you know, included in your 200 words, your last sentence should be a question. And you know, one question I still have is, if humans like to tell stories to entertain people, why do we, I don't know, whatever. Why are scary movies, you know, if movies are supposed to be entertaining, why are scary movies so popular? I don't know, you know, it could be any question, it doesn't matter. So at the end of your post, you ask a question. Then I want you to write at least 1 thoughtful reply. So after you post, you look at the rest of the discussions in Canvas, and then you'll look at each person's question. And then I want you to answer one of the questions that you think is interesting. So write 1 thoughtful reply to one of your classmates. I want you to write at least 50 words. And I'll be honest with you guys, sometimes it's more like 30. Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. But the one thing I do want you to do is to write a thoughtful reply. This means don't just say, I totally agree, or I love your post, or great idea. Something, you know what I mean? Write something that we were talking about critical thinking at the beginning of class, you know, right? Write something that shows me that you thought about the question a little bit. And then here's the grading for all of the discussion posts. All of the discussion assignments in Canvas, you guys will be 20 points. So you get 5 points for your first post, 5 points for, as long as it's a reply, you get 5 points for the reply. If your post is 200 words, you get 5 points just for writing 200 words. And then editing, you get 5 points. I'll be honest with you, I usually don't take points off for grammar here, you guys, but this is just a way to make me encourage you, maybe do 1 proofread, use it through Grammarly, look at it a little bit, you know what I mean? Try to care about your grammar a little bit for these posts. But usually I'm not, you know, I'm not a monster. I'm trying to give you guys points much more often than take them away. So again, everything I just talked about, you can watch the video again if you're not here. Hi, good to see you. Just watch this part. If you are here, you can rewatch this section of the video. And in every discussion post assignment, if you click this link, you can open this document. You can access these instructions anytime by just clicking this link. Any questions at all about the discussion activities, the rubric, or anything else here before we finish up for today?
Professor Jeff, when you click on discussion,
yes, I see.
Yeah, and then you click on lesson 3 story, right? And then you click on those link and watch the video. To answer this question, did you write it on the reply fields or?
Such a good, thank you so much, Najid. Yes, if you haven't done Canvas discussions yet, that's exactly right. You'll just click reply and then you just.
Okay.
Yep, thank you so much. Such a good question. That's exactly correct. You just click reply, right? And then, for example, I'll post as the example student, and then, oh, let me do this. And remember, also, I'm showing people, if you don't know this, let's say you do your post, you can click these 3 dots here and click edit, and you can go back and make edits. So you just type your answer in this box. It looks like this. This is my question. What do you think? So that's, you finish your post like that. And then let's say Najid, you want to reply to test student's genius question here. Then you just click reply underneath that student, right? So your first post, just click this reply at the very top of the page. When you want to reply to a specific student, let's say you wanted to reply to this student's post, you just click post. And you could say, like I said, something short, hi test student. I liked your ideas. I think the answer to your question is blah, 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 blah. And then you click post, and then it will look like this, right? Then you'll see test student's original post, and then your reply to the student. So thank you so much for that question, Najid. That was a really good question. I think I saw Maria's hand and Ruba's hand, or Rahila. Somebody. Maria, did I see your hand?
Yes. Hello, Professor. Hello.
Please go ahead.
Sorry, I'm a little bit late to there. I have a question.
No problem at all.
I have read syllabus and I saw it says that we have like 3 big assignments. Is it like essay?
Yes.
Maybe you talked before.
Yes. Basically, the only thing you need to know, Maria, is oh, go ahead.
Yeah. What is the requirements? How many words do we need?
For each of them, they'll each have different length and project due dates and stuff like that. So what I say in the syllabus, you probably already saw, but I will always give you at least 2 weeks notice before the first draft is due. And I will give you a document. I showed an example document. It's in the video. It'll be in the recording of the class. But just for example, for each of the 3 assignments, I will have what I call an assignment sheet. Now, this is not for this class, okay, you guys. This was an example, though, from last semester. So the example assignment sheet, I'll introduce the assignment. I'll give you your instructions. I'll give you information about the due dates. And then I'll give you another specific rubric with information about how the grading goes. So there are 3 big projects. There will be 3 assignment sheets for each of them. And I will always, usually we spend like 30 or 40 minutes on a Zoom class where I introduce the assignment sheet, introduce the topic, allow a lot of time for questions. And the other thing I said about this earlier is the first major project won't be due for at least a month. So you don't need to be worrying about it right now at all. And I'll always give you more information before the first draft is due.
Okay, because I remember my ESL 340 and we're supposed to write like 1,500 words, and I know that it was crazy for me.
Yeah, man. So yeah, you'll definitely be writing, but again, you'll be writing a lot, but I'll always give you lots of time. And like I said, if you go back and see or look at the slides about flexibility, my intention for this class is to be flexible and relaxed and not, yes, Maria, you are going to write a lot, but I'm not trying to stress you out. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to make you feel like, oh my God, I only have 2 days to write 1,000 words. That's not how that's not how I do it. Okay, I'll give you as much time as possible.
And also I want to say to my classmates, I wanted to say to my classmates, don't worry about 50 words. It's just full good 3 sentences because I haven't done this and it's not a lot. It's really
Thank
easy.
you, Maria. I love it. I love when students tell other students, don't worry. That's good. I love that. Thank you, Maria. That makes me happy. Rahila, question.
Excuse me, Professor. I was a little late in the Zoom today, but I have a question about the Zoom meeting. There is no conference Zoom in the Canvas, yes, but every Wednesday you will send us the link for Zoom.
That is exactly correct. And I will always send out an announcement, just like I did today, to say, hey, class is about to start in 15 minutes so that you can find the link really easily. And if you don't want to wait until I send the email, also on the homepage, the first link where it says Wednesday Zoom room, that's the link to this meeting, Rahila. So you can always get there from the homepage on Canvas as well.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
My pleasure. Daryl, what you got?
Yeah, Professor, just in general, will we have opportunity to have like an extra credit along the semester?
Probably. I don't always do it, but last semester I did. Probably. I
Okay.
give a lot of A's and B's, Daryl. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll just tell you right now, you're going to hear me say it. I don't care about grades at all. I care about you guys learning things, because
Okay.
I've seen many students get an A in a class and they learned nothing. So I don't really care about grades. I care about you guys doing the work. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm never going to assign you busy work. I don't believe in busy work. If I'm asking you to do something, it's because I truly believe if you do it, you'll learn something. But Daryl, if you're stressed about your grade and you're like, oh my God, I need to get my grade up, I'm pretty relaxed about that. So if we need extra credit, we can do extra credit. My goal with no due dates, with flexible course design, is so that you don't feel stressed and you feel like you can just focus on learning something instead of like, oh, I have so much work to do and I have. So you know, stress happens, life happens, that's normal. I totally understand. But you guys will see, that's kind of my goal. That's my dream that's my goal as a teacher. And again, if you have questions, Rahila knows. Rahila took the first class I ever taught at ARC. But Ruba really knows, because Ruba took a class with me last semester online. So if you're like, oh my God, what's up with Professor Jeff? He's a crazy person. Ask Ruba. She can tell you. She knows. She knows. Any other questions? Cool. If you do have questions, stay here and hang out with me for a few more minutes, but we'll finish a little bit early. I thought we might finish a little earlier, but we're done for today. So if you're done, it was so great to meet all of you and see some of you and get to hear your voices. What a joy, what a pleasure. If you have questions, send me an email, send me a text. I have another class at 3:30 today. So if you text me, I might be teaching my grammar class, but send me a text, send me an email. I'll get back to you as soon as you can. And if you're able to, try and finish those first 5 lessons before next week. And then next week we'll kind of really, you know, we'll jump in. We'll get started with some of these stories and everything. Nice to meet you too, Daryl. Thank you so much. Have a good day. So like I said, if you're leaving, get out of here. If you have any questions for me, I can stay for a few more minutes too. Bye, Ruba.
Okay,
Always good to see you. Bye, Maria. Good to meet you. Rahila, so good to see you again.
Thank you, Professor. I have just want to make sure
Please.
we will meet once a week, right? Only on Wednesday.
Wednesday, 12:15. Come if you can.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Of course, you too.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Professor.
Good to meet you. Thank you, everybody. You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. I'll see you guys next week. Be well.
See you.
Bye, Professor.
Bye, Fasal.